yes, okay.
Okay, awesome.
Lovely. All right, so here we are going to be starting at the library homepage. And I'm going to mention very briefly the ways other people have done research before I first talk about citation, as Indy has asked me, and then I'm going to give a demonstration of H-line, the journal article database. So here we go. We have the library search here, and people could just put in words like gerontology or homeless elders, etc., etc. So, and that was one of the methods. And the other thing I'm going to show you quickly is Google Scholar. So here's my first expert tip for people who love to search Google Scholar. Here is our go into our list of databases of Google Scholar and connect this way, because you will get our SFU journal articles. I'm clicking back on the home page, and you can also find it or any other database, Scholar this way. And so when it's treated like an SFU database, then you can immediately get the article if we subscribe to the journal. So if I may or may not be persuading people that H-line is an awesome way to go, but that is the first thing to remember. So free tip. All right, so so I'm going to first go into our we're going to go into our subject pages, and then I'm going to talk a bit about citation. So here is a list of all the subject pages at SFU, and I noticed some people are in health sciences or psychology, and each page has, each subject has a page and a subject librarian attached to that. So sometimes people don't know that, and that's kind of nice to hear about. So here is my gerontology page, and so this will just talk a bit about the different pages. I have course pages, so I'm going to go into Gero300 in a moment. And then I'll also talk about one way to help do a search in more general databases for using a lot of synonyms for seniors, because there's no one particular term for older people. I'm going to say that. And I'm going to go up to the top of the page here. And most of the subject pages do this as well. They have different sections. And I'm going to click on citing and writing. So the piece of information you will want to know about citation in gerontology is that they use APA, the American Psychological Association citation format. So if you are in different departments, you might have used other citation forms. Some departments don't care. Some, they just like pick one, stick with it. That's okay with us, not gerontology. So this, we have the citation guide for APA, and it's pretty useful in that it gives you an examples of all the different kinds of citation people might, not all, most, especially for undergraduates. So you can have a look at the section here. So we've got blog posts, journal articles, magazine articles, newspaper articles, and this will give you some examples right away, how to do citing. The main thing to keep in mind for citing is that what you're doing is giving credit for ideas that you've come across in journal articles or other resources. So whether you're citing directly, so you're doing a quotation, or you're just mentioning an idea from an article or a book, this is what you're going to do. And I'm also going to show you on AgeLine a way to get the APA format of the resources within it, which is quite nice as well. Now at this point, ND, I wasn't quite sure what else you would like me to mention about citation.
I think that's pretty much it. I guess I've put this website before in the announcement, but I think it's better. It's nice to see how to navigate through it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you can have a look at the books and personal communications. So one tricky thing about personal communication is you don't put it in the list of references, because the whole point of citing is for somebody else who's reading the item to be able to refer to that item. So if you're doing a personal email with somebody or a telephone call, that will not be something that somebody else can cite or find. So you don't have to worry about it in one way. So, I mean, just within the text itself. So I'm going to now go back to gerontology page, and I'm going to spend just a couple of moments talking about the 300 page. So itself. So I have put various links in. You may or may not want to look at them. I did notice that a lot of people have no background in gerontology, and that is fine. So I am mentioning some of the online resources, because whenever you're in a new field, there will be not just new concepts, but completely new vocabularies. And so what I have tried to do is a couple of items on some of the topics that I know have been topics, and talking about what is a peer-reviewed journal. Sometimes you are specifically asked for that kind of article. And here are a couple of the databases I think are most useful. Generally in gerontology, AgeLine, CINAHL, the nursing database, and PsycInfo are the most useful databases, but AgeLine is the most useful of all. So I'm going to go in, have a look, start doing a search, and I will perhaps by the end of this chat, so to give you a couple of reasons why going into a subject database is going to be very useful. So this is the major social gerontology database, and the lovely thing, so one advantage right away is it's all about older people. You don't have to worry about, like as in PsycInfo, even if you do narrow down research to older people, it could cover people of all ages. In AgeLine, you just know already it's older people. Another thing that's really, really nice about AgeLine is the fact that while it gives fewer results than, say, the library search and certainly Google Scholar, you know, or I'll tell you, and then you know, that AgeLine covers the major gerontology journals. So you don't have to, you may or may not have to do, is it peer reviewed, but you know right away that these journals are very highly regarded because they've been selected to be part of this database. Now, first of all, you can just start actually giving examples. So for instance, ages. And if you do a search on this term, you'll get 2,600 items. If you do on the same search, on the same keyword in library search, you'll get about 20,000 items more. So it narrows it down already to top gerontology journals. And I went quite quickly, but one thing about the EBSCO databases over here is they often, if you're starting with a keyword search, offer some synonyms. And if you see, that was 2,600, and this will give you 4,000. And so another advantage of being on a database is you have just done 4 searches in about the same time, or if you're a slow typist like me, about the same time as having done 1 search in Google Scholar or in the library search. Another advantage is the fact that you can't do this search in library search or Google Scholar. They don't like to do or, which is synonyms or broadening the search. It doesn't work, and you have already done that. So that is really quite nice. And of course, do you want to look at 4,000 articles? No, you do not. If you scroll down here, you can have a look and you can see the different ways, some of the different ways you can narrow down the search. So you can immediately say, well, you know, I really only want items from, you know, last 10 years. So that's one way of very quickly narrowing down your search. But also, ageism is a very broad topic. So what fabulous term did I come up with? Oh, yes. So mass media, and they actually have this very interesting term. Actually, I think I was started off with movies or films are mentioned, or cinema, and you can throw in more. And this, again, saves you time. So it's saying, I want ageism and movies, or ageism and films. So this is doing 16 searches, I think, at once, which again is saving you plenty of time. So if you have a look here, another thing that's quite nice is that they have subject headings. So you can see what official terms are used in the research area of gerontology. And so before I go and tell you a bit about the thesaurus and subject searching is the question of, well, do we have this journal? Can I see it now? Is nice and straightforwardly answered by get at SFU. So now I'm doing this completely randomly. We might end up with a very unhappy answer. No, we end up with a very happy answer of, yes, we have the article and you can just read it right away. So again, that's really nice in that you can search and get to the article right away. Now let me see in this, clicking back into the result list, sometimes the journal article itself is right in age line. So HTML full text. So you can read it that way as well. So, and there we go. Any questions so far? All right, so let's go into the thesaurus. So again, I really like the thesaurus, which is in many, not all, journal article databases, because that will give you the vocabulary, the official vocabulary of a particular term. So we've already seen that ageism is a particular term. But let's try another one. I'm just going to go with movies. So what are the different kinds of media are there? So if you click on movies, so we did know that was a subject term. If we click on it, we find out that mass media is a broader term. So you might want to do that. And you can say, okay, well, I like this. I like magazines, movies, newspapers, radio, communication, and I was just like, yeah, okay, let's just go do a search on that. And then you can do, again, ageism. And I can narrow it down. So DE or descriptor is saying, I want these subject headings. So it's very, the article is about it. Somebody has sat down and looked at the article and said, this is what the article is about, which is very nice. And ageism, so subject and descriptor, same thing. And then you can do a search here. So you can play with different terms and be really quite creative. And I liked that there are 3 search boxes. So you can have 3 different terms, 3 different concepts, and you can put in all the various different terms. And again, 93. So you can say, is this useful? Alrighty. And again, you can narrow things down a few more ways. So Alrighty. Oh, one thing I'll mention, and I apologize in advance if this is not for this course, but one thing that sometimes people get asked about is what kind of research is an article. So if you go into, and if anybody's taken psychology classes, you know that PsycInfo and use PsycInfo, it's awesome for, sorry, obviously can't talk and type at the same time. It's really good for describing what kind of research is described. And so if you click on this, this will immediately give you all the different kinds of research in particular articles. And this is really useful because researchers won't necessarily always mention that. So you can decide which ones are really, really useful. And that's really quite nice. All right, I think I'm going to stop the share for the moment if there are no any questions. And the next part of this session will be for people to go and practice on AgeLine a little bit. So let me go